For my review of the Valve Steam Deck, I gotta say it's one of my favorite devices I've ever owned. It's so cool, right? So I've been an Xbox gamer for like 10 plus years. I was into Xbox. I have a Switch for playing, you know, Mario, Odyssey, and all the Switch games, Legend of Zelda, and then Smash Bros, obviously. And then I have my PS5, because I got a PS5 when they first came out. I was like, oh, the controller's so cool, the console's so great, the triggers and the vibrations, like everything about it's amazing. Loved the heck out of the PS5. I ended up selling my Series X, or my Xbox, yeah, and my One X. I sold both of them because I just never used them. I had a PS5 that had a way better controller, better games. It's a whole thing, but anyway. But I really just wanted the exclusives on PlayStation, so that's why I kept that and the controller. Then the Steam Deck came along. So I have 3 kids under the age of 3, which is really hard. I don't get a lot of time to just like sit on the couch and just like game by myself anymore. It's really just never happened. So this has been a literal godsend, because not only can I game kind of wherever I want to, in terms of like I can game on the couch while the kids are watching Bluey or whatever show they're watching, and I can game like sitting out front in the front porch while the kids are riding their bikes. Like I can game in places I never would have been able to before, with a quality of gameplay that's refreshingly good. Like I was a Stadia user for a long time. Loved Stadia refunds, by the way. But I was a Stadia user. I tried a little bit of Luna, Amazon's version, and GeForce Now. Stadia was clearly the best for me. But it was so cool because it's like, I'm just going to play, like I put like 80 something hours in Assassin's Creed Odyssey on my cell phone. And then sometimes on the TV or my Mac or my iPad. I'd do it anywhere. And it was great. But sometimes you'd have like network dropouts and stuff where it was so bad, it would ruin the quality of the experience to the point where I just stopped using Stadia, which I think is why they eventually got rid of it, among other things. So on here, you're kind of like, you're not getting, you know, like NVIDIA graphics and or like Google graphics in a data center somewhere, like high quality, you know, anything being streamed to you, but it's on device. So there's no input delay. It's just really quick. It's very responsive. I mean, it's literally a gaming computer in your hands. And the quality of the games are pretty good. Like, I mean, I'm playing Hogwarts Legacy. I'm getting 60 FPS in Hogwarts. It's probably like low or medium settings, I think. But I mean, it's still like, you know, at 720p on this tiny screen where I can just game from my couch or my car or my friend's house or my in-laws' house. I can game from anywhere and just chill. Like, that's awesome. Remnant 2, I'm getting about 30, 35 FPS anywhere I go in Remnant 2. Super fun game. It looks great. I was playing it on, it's just low graphics, but again, it's like such a small screen, you don't really notice. You're just playing games. It's just fun. Like the analog sticks, they're unlike the Switch. The analog sticks are like full size. They're super well sized, super easy to use. The touch pads are awesome. I love the touch input. I don't use it for a lot of games, but when I do have to use it, it's just phenomenal. Especially like if you switch to desktop mode, using the right trackpad as a mouse and the left one as like an actual like scrolling trackpad, it's a phenomenal experience. It's amazing. Triggers are great. Buttons are great. I got a D-brand case on here I love. Everything about it is just phenomenal. I mean, it really just, it lets me play 99% of the games I want to play, where I want to play them, with an experience that is enjoyable and not difficult. I don't have to worry about setting up game streaming, dropouts, network connections, anything. I just turn it on and just start playing from anywhere, and I love that. So that's one of my favorite, probably my favorite thing about the Steam Deck. There was a joke about Stadia, they called it Daddy-O because dads loved it because they could play from anywhere while watching their kids. Steam Deck, same thing. I love it as a dad. For the overall battery of the Steam Deck, it's been really good. I know a lot of people compare it with the ROG Ally, which I think has not as good of a battery life, especially if you're pumping out like the higher performance that can technically achieve. But from all the reviews I've read and the things I've seen and just overall gameplay with the Steam Deck, I mean, I've never had it die on me. I'll usually play, like I'll play for like 2-3 hours, you know, maybe a couple more hours if it's like late at night. A lot of times when I'm home, I just plug it in, because if you plug it in, it's running off the power coming in from the wall and not the battery. So it's not, you know, burning charge cycles, right? So it makes the battery last longer. So whenever I'm home, I'm just playing plugged in, just chilling. And then when I take it off the thing, it's at 100%. I can take it wherever I want to go and keep playing. And I've never had it die. I carry a battery pack with me just in case. I have like one of the bigger Anchor, you know, the nicer ones that can put out some wattage. So I really like the battery on here. It's been super responsive. It lasts a really long time, and I haven't had any issues with the battery life. As for the screen of the Steam Deck, I think it's awesome. There's still a little bit of iffiness with the touchscreen, especially when you're in like desktop mode or you're trying to type, you're like tapping. It just feels off. It feels like where you touch, like I've always felt like on an iPhone when you try to hit a certain letter, if you hit the wrong one, your iPhone still kind of knows which one you wanted based on the word you're trying to type, so it just grabs the other letter still, even though you hit the wrong one, is what I feel like is happening. I feel like on the Steam Deck, it doesn't do that. And I feel like when you hit this screen, you're trying to type, you're trying to do whatever, that's what you hit, that's what you get. And I know at least a couple months ago when I was looking at it last, they were saying that there's no way to calibrate the touchscreen yet. So Valve was still working on releasing some kind of calibration tool. But initially it's just whatever calibration came with the Steam Deck is what it's gonna run. But I haven't had too many issues. It's just sometimes, you know, I use the trackpads more for typing than I do the screen, because the screen touchscreen's not ideal, but it's nice to have when you need it. In addition to that, I think it gets plenty bright. There's been a couple times I was playing in the car just the other day, and I think the screen wasn't bright enough for me then. I even plugged it into my battery pack to give it a little extra juice because it was like 48%. And it didn't really get any brighter. So it's been fine for me the entire time I've used it. But if you're gonna use it like in an outdoor setting, and there's still some sun out, whatever, or even like in your car where there's a little bit of shade, it's still like, it's bright, but it could be just a little bit brighter. But again, that's only like a couple scenarios. Outside of that, I mean, it's phenomenal for every other use case I've had. So yeah, I'm very happy with the screen and the brightness on here. It's got a lower resolution and it doesn't have like 120 hertz refresh rate, but honestly, almost no game I've played can hit 120 hertz refresh rate. And I think that's due to just the power of the processor and leveraging that with not using a ton of batteries. So it is 720p, but again, like a lot of reviewers and other people state, you know, the 720p on a screen this size, it looks like 4K. I mean, it's not big enough for you to be able to see the pixels the way you would 720p on a big TV on your wall. So that compared with also with the 120 hertz, 120 hertz is great. It's nice for scrolling and stuff, but I don't know if handheld could, like most games on a handheld could even support it. It's fine with me that it can hit 30 and 60 for most of the games I want to play. So the screen, I love the screen. I like everything about it. It's been really good to me. I haven't had any issues at all, any dead pixels. It's just a phenomenal screen. It's been a good experience with that. For some accessories on the Steam Deck, especially ones that I really want to recommend to anybody who is buying a Steam Deck or looking to buy a Steam Deck, there's a couple that I think you will not have the best experience without owning. The first one is going to be there's little silicone rubber bands that you can buy on Amazon. I'll put the link in the description below, but they're tiny little silicone rubber bands, and you actually wrap them around the edge of the analog stick. So after using my Steam Deck for about 6 months, I noticed there was some like a little gray powder around the edges of my analog stick, and I was like, what is that? I couldn't figure it out. I did some research. I was looking around on Reddit and stuff, and the original ones, like the one I have, is like first couple months they made them, back when they were doing the big wait times. They shipped with gray analog sticks, and over time the gray paint would wear away on the plastic, the plastic edges of these raised levels. And that's just what they do. They do that on all controllers, but on most controllers the analog sticks are black, so you don't see it. And on these ones they were gray, so it would kind of scrape away and leave a little kind of like on my powder residue on the edges. And I noticed it would like slow down the sticks, make them feel a little sticky. It was like a weird scenario. I just didn't love it. And apparently every controller does that. I didn't know that. I've never really gamed enough to really notice that, which shows how much I've been using this. But these little silicone bands are a lifesaver. Like, I saw it on Reddit and I was like, whatever, it's 10 bucks or whatever it was, I'll try it. I ordered it and I was like, this is incredible. Like, I bought more to use on my PS5 controller and my Series X controller that I still have. Like, just amazing. I showed it to my brother and my brother was like, no way, and immediately ordered some like the next day. So yeah, get the silicone rubber bands. It's gonna change the gaming experience on your Steam Deck and probably any other controller you go to use in the future. Another accessory that I highly recommend for the Steam Deck is going to be the D-brand kill switch case. I'm not sponsored by them, so this isn't coming from any kind of sponsorship or anything like that. This is purely just me telling you this case is awesome. I've tried, what am I at now, like 8 or 9 different cases, like just across Amazon and JSOX or whatever, JSOX, whatever all those company names are, and they were pretty good. Silicone ones would feel a little bit rubbery sometimes. You know, the ones that were plastic felt kind of cheap. You know, you kind of like, this is just amazing. So first off, I use this kickstand like every single time I touch my game console. I mean, it's constant. It's just, I'm using it, then I kick it out and I set it on the table and then I pick it back up and I bring it back down. Like, the kill switch case is awesome. The ability to just have this piece and have it removable if needed is amazing. I use this 24/7. They also actually, on this the new version of this, when they replaced the magnetic one with this plastic interlock one, they added little sections here for SD cards. You can store 4 SD cards in your case for your Steam Deck, which is awesome. And then on top of that, the Steam Deck also, the kill switch case came with, you can get like a nice skin for it. So I got the, I forget what this one's called, but I got this one because I kind of like the look of it on my, I stopped playing with my Switch as soon as I got my Steam Deck and I just never looked back. But I liked the ode to the Nintendo Switch colors because I had these Joy-Cons. So these stick grips, they're nice enough that I would highly recommend them. I don't think that they're as much of a game changer as like the silicone bands are for the analog sticks, but it's just nice because like when you're using the Steam Deck, it uses a concave kind of analog stick, and some people like that, some people don't. I don't really like that. But when you put these on, they just slip over the edges, and then you actually get a little bit more of a ridge to touch and push on, and they're much grippier than the original ones. They just cover up, and they're perfect for just any kind of game, like shooters or whatever. It just gives you that much more tactile response and feeling when you're using the analog sticks. So I definitely recommend them. I really like them. I have the blue and orange, and then I also have the black ones because I wanted to have a second pair to switch to when these eventually wear out or break someday, whatever. So these are definitely recommend. Those are also by D-Brand, but there's other companies that make them. I just think D-Brand's was the best. So yeah. As for the kill switch case, one thing I want to point out that I really like, and a thing I dislike about it, actually 2 things I dislike about it. One, it gives you a ton of durability. Like, you can't really tell, but like this texture is like, it's super grippy. It's in my hands. Like, I could not drop this thing if I tried. And I love that because the original Switch or Steam Deck is so comfortable to hold. It's crazy. And this does slightly bring that down, like just ever so slightly. It's just not as smooth, right? Because it's not all the way up. It's just down to right here. But so much more comfortable to hold in terms of like, it's just there gripping on your hands. It's not slippery. It doesn't get sweaty if you game for a long time because the material it's made from, it stays kind of dry. I love that. And then also with this case, I love the durability of it because like I said, I got 3 kids. They tend to break stuff, trip over things, knock things over. I drop stuff. I'm not perfect, so you got these kind of like these little bumps to help take a little bit of impact away on the top and bottom if it were to like fall somehow. I love that. It's got the padding around all the edges, so it's the first thing to take a hit. And then they also make that travel case. I think this travel cover is not very good. I use it every day because I put mine in a backpack with my laptop and diapers and everything else that I have to carry around with me. I use this every day, but I wish it was better. So when you go to put it on, right, you just flip it right on, and you'd think like, oh, it's like your analog sticks are protected, your thumbsticks are protected, the top's protected, but the fan's covered, for one. So like I've had it where I accidentally left my Steam Deck on, I put this on, and then my Steam Deck got pretty warm, like really warm. I picked up, I was like, oh my gosh, and I like took the cover off and realized it was still on. So I kind of wish the fan thing wasn't covered. But I also like that it's covered because there's another complaint I have, which is I don't like that the back panel's open, right? Like right here, this is like one of the vents and it's just wide open. So if I throw this in my bag or like leave it on the counter, if a kid like spills a drink on this or I spill my drink on it, whatever, this is toast because it's just gonna go right in through the buttons or right in through the, the heat thing back here. It could splash off the top, the USB-C port. I don't know how water resistant that is. Like, I'm not saying I'm gonna spill my drink on here, but I'm just saying I wish that if I set my Steam Deck down, it didn't just have dust and anything else just go right in there. So that's kind of one complaint I have about it, and it's really difficult to get off. Like, every time it's like, am I gonna break my Steam Deck? But again, I use it every day. I love it. I had 4 or 5 different bags that I used to use. I used to carry like 4 or 5 different bags in a variety of sizes, and like I'd carry like my dock in there, or I'd carry, like external storage. I'd carry a battery bank, whatever I wanted to carry. And so I didn't use the travel thing, and I would just throw this in there. But the travel thing, I love, it protecting the analog sticks, protecting the screen, the main things. So especially now that I just throw this in my backpack and go, I use the travel cover consistently. So those are some of the main accessories I definitely would recommend. There's one additional one that I haven't really showed too much. This is the Steam Deck dock. Get the official one. It gets firmware updates from Valve. It's going to be the most compatible with your Steam Deck, obviously, because the hardware is designed to work with the other hardware. They've been very supportive of other companies making different docks, and I have 3 or 4 docks, and I felt like it's generally the same experience on all of them. And I've actually had some negative experiences with the Steam Deck dock too, where the audio cuts out or whatever it is. But that being said, any issues I have are going to get fixed because they're going to put out firmware updates. They literally, you update your firmware for your dock through your Steam Deck. So no other company's going to have that, and that's something I really like. So it's a little expensive. I think it's like $80. If you buy it from Valve, you don't get it used or whatever, but get it. It's worth it. It's going to get updates. It's going to get better and better. Just like the Steam Deck constantly adds new features and abilities. You get the dock, I think you're going to be really happy you did. The Steam Deck kill switch case from Dbrand does not work in the dock by default, but they do sell an attachment. It's actually 2 attachments you can get. One of them is, I'll show you in a video, is a plastic clip that you have to slide into the official Steam Deck dock, and then this just locks into place. It literally, the little ridge here actually sinks perfectly into one of the holes of the Steam Deck, or the Dbrand plastic piece that fits the dock. So it just locks in there and it does not move anywhere. So they sell that, and then also you'll see the little USB-C piece that you're supposed to plug into the top of the Steam Deck is not long enough. It's designed to be completely flush with the Steam Deck, so if you're using a case, it won't work. Luckily, Dbrand has a nice little USB-C extender that just pops right in there and extends it just enough that it'll work with the Steam Deck. So I couldn't recommend Dbrand's kill switch case or their skins enough. Again, this isn't sponsored. I just love them. I really want to, send some business their way because they're great, and I think you guys will be really happy with that, with the experience you get from Dbrand. And then the official Steam Deck dock is another one I think you're really going to like. There's one last one. Obviously, I'm a PS5 guy, so I have a PS5 controller that I use for everything when I need a game. And TomTalk, awesome company. They make amazing backpacks. I'll put a link below. They make my favorite backpack of all time. It's just incredible. It's super durable. I put my M2 MacBook Pro in there. I've never worried about it getting broken. I carry my Steam Deck, battery bank, first aid kit. Like I got everything in there. I love that backpack. But they make controller cases, and I bought one for my PS5, and I loved it so much I ended up buying 2 more for my other PS5 controllers just to store them, make sure they don't get broken, and they're amazing. So I'll put a link in the description below if you're interested in grabbing one of those. They're pretty cheap. I think they're like 20 bucks, something like that, 25 maybe, but they're so worth it for just protecting your controller. And especially if you're like me, where you go to friends' houses a lot, so you're just gonna like keep a couple PS5 controllers or whatever in a bag, like to go whenever you just are going. Being able to just keep them in there to keep them protected and from smashing around, totally worth it. It protects the sticks, protects the bumpers and the triggers, keeps them from turning themselves on. It's a great case. TomTalk makes amazing products. Go check them out on Amazon. They're incredible. A couple other things I just want to mention about my Steam Deck experience. One of the first things is going to be the fact that every game that I've tried so far, with the exception of like Destiny 2, which I'll get into in a minute, and the new Jedi Survivor game, every other game I've tried has just worked on the Steam Deck. I mean, it seriously is like magic. You load the game, you click on it, you press play, boom, you're in, and you're playing on a handheld anywhere. And the developer doesn't even have to do anything. Like, for most cases, like, it's just Valve putting in support to make the games work on, you know, this Linux, you know, imitating hardware. Like, it's amazing. So I love that experience. It's so great. I never got Jedi Survivor to work. It crashed a couple times. Destiny doesn't work. There's a bunch of companies that have like straight up just banned, like they will not release their game on Steam Deck because they don't, something about Linux and virus protection and stuff. But disappointing, you know. Valve sold like what, like 1 million Steam Decks or a couple million Steam Decks. So like at some point, I'm sure those game companies will have to come out and start making them. Their games work on there, but right now there's not enough support to be able to do that. So hopefully Bungie will change their mind someday, because I'd love to play Destiny on the Steam Deck. It's kind of my main gaming platform now, and I get that maybe they don't want to do it because like the whole thing with the Steam Deck is like play 20 minutes, play an hour, turn it off, and leave the house, go do something else. And like if you leave the house, like Destiny is an online game, so you have to be at home or on Wi-Fi or using your phone as a hotspot or something to be able to play Destiny. So then it doesn't make sense to use a portable device to play Destiny. But I would guess I'm not the only person that uses the portable Steam Deck in their house most of the time, because it's just easier to play on the couch, or, you know, play from wherever, play in your bed at night when your wife's like, I want to go to bed, and you're like, okay, and they're just like playing games, you know, next to her. I don't know. I hope they support it someday. So one other thing I do want to mention, sometimes the launchers are weird. So EA and Ubisoft have had issues where the launchers will start working and then stop working and then start working and then stop working. And it's like, so you like go to launch a game and it like pulls up the launcher and you try to sign in and then it won't let you sign in, and then it like just doesn't let you play your game because the launcher won't work. And you know, games like Dead Space doesn't have a launcher on Steam Deck, so it just goes right in. Like it's an EA game, but you just click and then boom, I'm playing Dead Space at like 45 FPS on a handheld, like freaking out in the dark. Like, awesome, I love it. Get rid of launchers, please. EA, Ubisoft, get rid of them. Hate them. But anyway, some launchers work and some of them don't. Sometimes it just like, it depends on the day and what updates have gone out and then what Valve's done to like make the launchers work again. I would imagine this is something that's going to get fixed in the future, as it's kind of like a biggest pain point for most users. But it's just something I want to mention. Yeah, there's some games, especially EA and Ubisoft games, that need a launcher where you might have some issues playing those games through that launcher. So just something to be aware of. Something else I do want to mention that I think most people might find interesting. So I was a PC gamer at one point. You know, obviously I played PC. I had my GeForce, GTX, whatever, or RTX, whatever. I know Discord's really popular for a lot of PC players. Like even when I had my Steam Deck and my brother got his Steam Deck, like we'd still play through Discord. We'd chat through Discord. And for those of you who like Discord, something really cool I think you'll find kind of neat. You can download Discord to your Steam Deck. Like you switch to the desktop mode, you Google Discord, you download Discord, and then you install it. And then you have Discord on here. And then you add it to Steam. Like from the desktop mode, you do like, you go to like settings, and then it's like add a non-Steam game to Steam. Most of you have probably done this before if you're a PC gamer. But then you can add any program to Steam and run it from Steam, even if it's not a game. So like my brother and I, when we would game together, we would both open Discord and start a call and then open a game, and you would actually have two games running at the two like games, you know, Windows, whatever, running at the same time, and you could jump between them. And I could even game stream my game from my Steam Deck to my brother over Discord to his Steam Deck. It was crazy. Like, I get that it's a gaming computer technically, but it was cool to see that it worked. So for any of you, you know, Discord lovers out there, people who want to game stream, you know, to Discord, whatever, it does work. I did notice a couple times maybe a little bit of a performance hitch, because obviously it's like trying to do screen recordings and sharings and network stuff and whatever, but overall I thought it worked totally fine. And honestly, I haven't used it in a couple months because I usually just, you know, call my brother now when we want to play over Steam or something, or a Steam Deck, whatever. But yeah, it worked great when I used it. I was really happy with it. So if you like Discord, you'll be really happy to hear that definitely works well on the Steam Deck. So I'm one of those people that I never have enough storage. I always have to get more storage. So when I bought my Steam Deck, I bought the 512 gigabyte model, the top one you could get. And then I bought a terabyte SD card thinking that's perfect. Terabyte will be perfect. That's totally fine. And it was for a long time. I literally used it for a whole year and was like, this is totally fine. But I had a lot of games where it'd be like, you know, Sea of Thieves. I love playing Sea of Thieves with my brother. But it's like 97 gigs. That's huge. That's more than actually I think it's like more than a fifth of my Steam Deck storage. Like that's nuts. So keeping it on my Steam Deck to sometimes play just made no sense. And so the other day when I was looking, I know that iFixit, obviously they partnered with Steam, and you can get, you know, third-party, or you can get, first-party Valve official replacement parts for your Steam Deck from iFixit, and instruction guides to fix it yourself, and that's super cool. But they also sell something that's not like an original Valve part that you can get for it still, and they have instructions to install, and that's you can get a solid-state drive for your Steam Deck. So when I ordered it the other day, I got a 2 terabyte solid-state drive from iFixit's website, and the kit to install it, and the instructions were all on there. And I got that for, I want to say like $280, $290. So that was really cool, being able to be like, oh my gosh, like I have 2 terabytes of like M.2 NVMe SSD storage on here. Like it's crazy fast. I literally, like the first thing I did was I moved all my games from my SD card back over to the new internal storage. And not only did they move like crazy fast, but I actually saw a marked like quality increase, especially in like Remnant 2, where the load times were faster. Like moving was faster, there was less stuttering. Like it was just, it's overall better than using an SD card, because SD cards are inherently slow, right? Even if you get an expensive fast one, nothing's going to be like an NVMe SSD, you know, directly installed on the Steam Deck. So yeah, that 2 terabyte one is actually a really good purchase. It was incredibly easy to open it up and just get it taken apart, put the new drive in there, and call it good. I would say honestly, it probably took me like 15 minutes or 20 minutes to get the SSD swapped out and everything reassembled. And then the harder part was kind of like finding a USB drive and then going to Steam's website and downloading like the recovery drive, and then getting the recovery drive hooked up to the Steam Deck. You basically, what you have to do is download the OS again, and then you have to flash it to a drive, connect the drive to your Steam Deck, and then boot off the drive. And the drive's like, are you sure you want to re-image the Steam Deck? And you say yes, because it's not imaged at all. And then on the new drive, and then you just click like proceed, and it sets it up. Like this is it. I mean, this is my Steam Deck, but it's got a 2 terabyte SSD in there now. So very happy with that. Totally worth it. If you ever get one of these, if you have a lot of games, you need a lot of storage, absolutely get the 2 terabyte from iFixit. It's amazing. I think you can even get a 1 terabyte. I think it's like, is it $80? It's not that expensive. Like 2 terabytes is more expensive because it's more storage, and they know they can charge a little bit more, I think. But yeah, definitely worth it. I'll throw a link down below for the one that I got. I think you'll be happy with that if you get that. I've had no issues and seen market increase in performance, and now I have like 1.5 terabytes free on my Steam Deck again. So even though I downloaded all my games, I literally, if I go to my storage right now, if I go down to storage, I have 883 gigabytes left of 1.8 terabytes. That's on internal. And I have 456 gigabytes free of 1 terabyte from my SD card. So I got 120 gigs of Red Dead 2. Might not even ever play that game, but I have storage for it. Just nice to know, nice to have that. So definitely keep an eye out for that. One other thing that I want to go into on this review, I'm not going to go too deep on this because I don't know if I can get in trouble. I own all the games, so it shouldn't be a problem, but who knows. Emulation is super easy on the Steam Deck. Super easy. I mean, literally just go download Emudeck. Google Emudeck, Emudeck. Google it from desktop mode, download the installer, run it, and then go find the ROMs or whatever for the games and put them where it says, it's literally just follow the instructions. And then like, boom, you're playing Mario 64, you know, you're playing, what have I been playing? Super Mario Sunshine. I've been playing Rogue Squadron a ton. I love Rogue Squadron from the 64, but it just works on here. It's crazy. Like some games don't, like SSX Tricky doesn't work very well. It's kind of stuttery. Like I was like, Grace, like check this out. And like my wife was like, oh, like, and then it stuttered a bunch and kind of ruined the experience. But most of them, like Super Mario 64 is phenomenal. Super Mario Sunshine's phenomenal. Trying to think of any other game. I mean, I played so many on here. Like it's just great. And like just the ability to play any of those on a portable device anywhere, and just like, you're like, you know what, I'm not feeling it, I can't beat Bowser right now, whatever it is, boom, you just turn it off and that's it. Like, and you just pick it up and play later. It's awesome. I love that. Not tethered to a TV. So that's just something I wanted to mention. I think that emulation is something that most people, if you're into old games like that, you're going to really enjoy being able to do something like that on your Steam Deck pretty easily. And I will say with mine, with Emudeck, it actually integrates very well. You have to follow the instructions. If you follow them correctly, it integrates very well with Steam. So once you get it installed, once you open one of the programs, it actually will it'll load in all of the ROMs, all the games that you put on your Steam Deck in the correct folders. It'll load those into Steam for you automatically with the wallpapers for the game too. So like, you don't have to do anything crazy, like add each game to library, or it does everything for you. You literally just go to your folders in the Steam Deck, like the mobile menu on the Steam Deck, you go to your folders, and there's a Game Boy Advance folder, there's a Nintendo 64 folder, and there's a, whatever it is, Game Boy Color folder, like whatever folders you put games in, those ones will show up. All the games will be there. They'll have the titles listed. They'll have the pictures for them. Just awesome. So if you're into emulation at all, or you really like, playing emulated games and you want to play a little more portable, that's going to be a great experience for you. I put like Mega Man Battle Network 3 Blue on my Steam Deck before they came out with the new, released one for Steam. And actually, even after I played the new released one from Steam, the emulated one is better, because the emulated one is actual full screen on the whole entire display, and the Steam one that you have to buy for like $60 or whatever, they like cut off the top and bottom bars or something, so it just isn't sized right on the Steam Deck. It's not sized perfectly, so I actually like the emulated version of that game better anyway. So yeah, if you're into emulation, check that out. You will not be disappointed. For the controls on the Steam Deck, I think it's really interesting, because when I first got the Steam Deck, when I first got it like a year ago, like it was like newer, right? Like the first 2-3 months it's been out. Sometimes games you'd like load into a game and it's like, why is it not responding? Like the analog sticks weren't working, whatever it is. The touchpads, buttons they're pressing like keys on a keyboard, they're not like A, B, X, Y. It is not like that anymore. If you launch a game on Steam, on your Steam Deck, it just works every single time. I've literally never had any issues since probably since the first month that I had my Steam Deck. Like, they did such a good job. But one thing that I really like, and I'm gonna pull it up here so I can make sure I'm doing it correctly. When you're looking at a game, there's a game page where you can see like controller settings or guides for that game. You can even take notes on your Steam Deck, which is they added that. It's such a cool feature. Like, you could put a note in there, like, come back to this area later. I have this door, whatever. I love that. Anyway, if you go to controller settings, when you go in there, so in most games, the back paddles over here, they are not engaged. They're just turned off. There's literally a button called Enable Back Grip Buttons in controller settings, and it's set on a per game basis, which is really nice, because you don't have to configure your controls for like, okay, this game, like you can just be like, for this game I want this one, for this game I want this one. You can like customize it to each game, versus just applying to every single game. But what's cool, so when you enable the back grip buttons, you'll see right here, it's just that easy. There's literally just a thing where you just go, oh, L4, that's this one right here, the one that says L4, and you just click on it and you select what button or what key you want it to press, and that's it. So, being able to use those is really cool, because I hated that on a lot of controllers. Like on my Elite controller for my Xbox, every time I went to set it down, the paddles would touch my leg, and they would trigger whatever button was linked to the paddles, and a lot of times it would like unpause my game, I would die, it would close out of my game. Like, it was so frustrating. But these are tucked in perfectly, flush with the body. You can't ever accidentally hit them. It's perfect. They're so ergonomic. Like, look at how I hold this thing. Fingers right there. I can hit bumpers, I can hit triggers, I can get paddles. They're perfect. I love it. Like, I was playing Sekiro, right? Sekiro is a hard game. Anybody who says it's not is a liar. That game is difficult, but I love it. I mapped my block button to, I think it was R4. So I was like, just being able to block and counter like all from the back paddles as quickly as I could. And I was still able to use like the face buttons for everything else. So I'm not like trying to think about, okay, I hit this A to jump. Like, I think I mapped R5 to jump. so I could jump and still keep my hand on the analog stick and be looking around. Like, it was a great addition. So setting the controller settings on the games on a per game basis is awesome on the Steam Deck. It's very well done. I'm very happy with it. There's also a thing, so sometimes some games, the controls aren't great, right? Like, obviously it's PC games, so they're built for keyboard and mouse. I've had issues where, and this is earlier, I haven't had this anytime recently, but some games, the controls aren't perfect right out of the gate. So when that happens, there's an option in there where you can see your current layouts, right? And you can go over to community layouts right there. You can see there's one, Diver Dan with rear macros, 42 thumbs up, 15,222 hours played. The top one right there. And it has a Steam Deck logo next to it, so you know it's for a Steam Deck. But how sick is that? Like, somebody went in, Kristen Carpenter 97 went in, built what they thought was the perfect controller for a Steam Deck, or perfect controller configuration with the rear macros, with these buttons set up correctly, right? And 42 people downloaded it, used it, gave it a thumbs up. Probably more than 42 downloaded it, but 42 people gave it a thumbs up, and they played it for 15,000 hours. Like, that's not even the default game. The default thing is gamepad with joystick trackpad. Like, that's the default controller for this, right? There's one like official layout for Dave the Diver. But you can just download a community one. It's awesome. And the community ones, like, there's so many community controllers that you can download that are just so perfect. Like, if you're like playing like Satisfactory, or you're playing like a game where there's like a lot of, you know, key commands, whatever, like, you can just go look at the ones that the community makes, grab a couple of the top ones and download them so they're saved on your Steam Deck, and then just live switch between them until you find the one that you like, and that's it. Like, or like if you're like playing a game where you have to hit the letter T to talk, like, map that to R5, and then whenever you hit it, just boom, you're in the texting menu. Like, it's just so perfect how the community controls work. It's been one of the better experiences with this game, and I love it. Like, especially some games, like if you're playing like Deep Rock Galactic, you know, Rock and Stone. If you're playing one of those games, there's an option to even turn on gyroscope controls. I don't know how this even has that, but it's pretty cool. So basically, when it senses you're touching the control sticks, the analog sticks, when you tilt the Steam Deck, it has a gyroscope in there that kind of senses your motion and will adjust. And you can literally like look around in Deep Rock just by touching these. You don't even have to use the stick. You just touch it and look around a little bit. You can turn that on instantly in any game from the controller settings. It's literally a selectable thing right here. You can see, gyro behavior, none, for Dave the Diver. But you can go in and turn that on and set what it does. And I just think that's really cool. And a lot of community things will take advantage of that and build some really cool things that you wouldn't think of for games. So yeah, I love the controller on this thing. I love the controller settings. I love the configuration. 10 out of 10, definitely recommend that on the Steam Deck. One of the last things that I want to mention that I'm really been happy with over the past year that I've had this has been Valve's support of it. Because normally when you buy a product, like let's say you buy an iPhone, right? They show you in April or May, they're like, hey, here's your this is what iOS 17 is going to look like. And then in September, they're like, hey, here's your new phone, and it's running iOS 17. And you're like, cool. Like, you know exactly what to expect, and that's it. Like, that's your experience. With the Steam Deck, it's not like that. The Steam Deck is like, since I bought it, right? I bought the Steam Deck, and then every day I get like not every day, but like once a month or every couple months, I'll see a tweet from, one of my favorite, Twitter people, X people I follow, whatever. And they'll be like, hey, new Steam update just went live for everybody. And I'll go in and download it, and I'm looking through the patch notes, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like, look at that. Like, one of the coolest things that I thought was just incredible, they added a notes thing, right? So when you're looking at a game, there's an option where you can just hit the Steam button and select notes, and then just put notes there. Like, you can create multiple notes, and then you can look at them and review them. Like, they just like added that. Like, wouldn't that be cool if we just did this? And then they just did it. So, yeah, like I didn't buy a Steam Deck with the intention of like, yeah, if I'm playing a game and I need to remember an area or to go back and beat this boss or whatever, I can put notes in there. Like, I didn't buy it because of that. And it didn't have that when I bought it. But like 9 months later, they just added it and now it's there. Like, that's so cool. There are not many things out there where when you buy it, they come out with like updates that substantially enhance the usability and the experience of that product beyond what was originally, like what you originally received, right? So just, there's so many examples, but Valve's support has just been amazing on this. You know, when a new game comes out and the game's having issues, you know, they're like within like a week or days, they'll put out a patch for Proton that makes the game work better on Steam Deck. Like almost immediately they're on it, they're working on it. Like there was a thing, granted Jedi Survivor doesn't work on the Steam Deck right now very well, but it didn't work on most consoles very well, at least at launch. And there was a thing where somebody found in a patch update somewhere or something, they found some reference to secret code. And one of the guys that I follow on Twitter and X, he was like, yeah, that's actually for Jedi Survivor. It's just, we're getting ready for the game. Like, it was cool that they're like proactively trying to make sure this game will work on the Steam Deck and make sure it runs well. Granted, the game was not ready at the time to be able to do that, even on the PS5, even on like, you know, the Xbox, even on PC, like it just was not fully optimized at the time, but Valve was doing what they could. And I think that's really cool. They've just done an amazing job supporting the Steam Deck, putting out patches, putting out bug fixes. Sometimes they put out a patch that does break stuff, and then the next day, there's like the same day or the next day, there's a new patch to fix what the last one broke. Like it's just, they're on it, and it's really cool, and it's really easy to hop into the beta channel to try out new features and new things coming. So Valve's support of the Steam Deck has just been really, really good. I would honestly say it's been above and beyond what I've seen or what I would expect from most game companies. You know, like PS5, they're like, here's your PS5 menu, and then like once a year they give you an update that like lets you have phone calls with Discord people, right? Or something like that. Or Xbox is like, here's your new menu, and then it's just like a menu that it has more Xbox, you know, Ultimate ads packed in per square inch than the previous one. Like they don't really add lots of new features, they just redo menus and call it good. But the Steam Deck's added so many features, I can't even really count. Like, gosh, one of the things they added that I just was like, that's really cool, they redid how notifications work. Like right now, if I hit the button, there's a notification bell at the top of the page, and they redid how that worked. That didn't used to be there, but now you can just put yourself in effectively like do not disturb mode. Like if my friend hops on, if I get a party invite, whatever happens, don't disturb me. I don't want it. You can just mute that. And I think being able to mute notifications, like that's a great change. It's a great feature. You know, there's so many things that they've just been improving on in here. And I think one of the ones was even like if a friend sends you an invite, they added an option for you to just click on the invite and instant join versus having to click on the invite, which opens like the chat, you know, the chat section of the Steam Deck. And then you'd have to click play game there. They just made it click on the invite and now you're playing. Like that's awesome. That was a great improvement. They didn't have to do that, but they did. And so, yeah, their support of the Steam Deck's been awesome. I'm excited to see what new features and stuff come out. And the fact that they came out and said they're not going to make another one for at least a couple years because they don't want people all like, well, I have to get the better one. Like, you know, they want to keep everybody on the same kind of like level gaming playing field, right? Until the next one comes out in a number of years. I think that was a really good choice. So I think they're really sticking with their product. And doing a good job supporting it. So very, very happy about that. I'll say my biggest and smallest gripe with the Steam Deck honestly has to be with how they handle media. And I mean specifically screenshots and video recordings. So I'm one of those people that when I encounter an incredible experience or like a gorgeous view or like a cutscene where I'm like, did that just happen? Or like I beat, you know, somebody, I'm like, I gotta show this to somebody, right? Like I'm instantly like, boom, grab a screenshot. Like I need this. The screenshot and sharing experience on the Steam Deck is not good. Like I took a screenshot today and I can see it in here and it's fine. I mean, it doesn't look bad. If I hit options, there's an option to upload or delete though. And that's just upload. Why do I have to choose to upload it? Before I wipe my Steam Deck, one of the things I forgot to do when I got my M.2, my upgraded storage, was I forgot to save all my screenshots and videos on my old Steam Deck. So any of the ones I hadn't uploaded are now gone forever. And that's fine. I'll survive. But I wish that it auto-uploaded screenshots and videos. Xbox has done it for so many years. PlayStation even started doing it. Like literally, if you take a screen cap on a PS5 or record that last 30 seconds, whatever, it instantly uploads and is available on your iPhone or iPad, whatever device you're using the PlayStation app on. You can see any screenshots or videos from any games within the last like 2 weeks. That's awesome because you can just go in there, download it, save it, send it, share it, post it, whatever you want to do. It's all right there in the app. You can access it from your phone and do whatever you want. On the Steam Deck, you take the screenshot, which by the way is like sometimes hard to do because it's like Steam and X. It's like you have to like hit them both at the same time. But then actually it might be Steam and Bumper. I don't remember. It's been a bit since I've used it now. But you take that screen recording, you're like, oh great, I got it. Like that's awesome. But then it's like as soon as you take the screen recording, it instantly goes private, so nobody can see it, and it doesn't upload. So if your Steam Deck dies or whatever else happens, you're gonna lose it forever. And then if you do want to upload it, you have to go into the media tab and select that photo or multiple photos, and then upload them all, and then sit there and let it upload. And I wish that it had a thing where like when it was just sitting on the charger doing nothing, it could just upload your screenshots you've taken. It would just be nice. Keep them as private, that's fine. I don't know what people are screenshotting in their games that they need to be private by default, but you know what? Just make it upload. That's all I want. So anyway, there's been a lot of times where I like want to share somebody a video with somebody or whatever, and I'm like, all right, gotta select, and then like mark all these, and then mark all these, and then I have to upload, and then I just plug it in on the charger and let it sit there and like churn through uploading them so I can go on my phone and access them. It's just really annoying. So that's one of the biggest and smallest issues I've had with my Steam Deck, where it's annoying and I don't love it, but I also don't care that much because I'm gaming on a handheld computer like that's super tiny and getting 30 to 60 FPS in brand new games like Hogwarts and Remnant. So I can survive the screenshot experience not being perfect. One thing I'd say to be aware of on your Steam Deck is going to be your downloads. So downloads are kind of weird because basically what'll happen is like if you're playing a game, usually whenever I finish a game, which sometimes could be days if I leave it running, like I just turn the Steam Deck off and then turn it back on when I want to play and then turn it off again. Whenever you finish, it acts like it's downloading an update, and it'll show like a amount of storage space being used, whatever, and then it'll just like refresh and then it's done. But if you go to downloads, like it shows the game downloaded something. And a lot of times if you use your Steam Deck a lot without restarting it, the updates they'll kind of like queue up. Like if you go to the downloads tab, you can see, okay, I have like 7 new updates, right? And it'll be like, for me, I don't know why, maybe this is like an out of the box thing, whatever. It'll be like, all right, these 4 are downloading because you turned the Steam Deck on, but then these 3 are scheduled, but they're scheduled for tomorrow at 2 in the morning, which my Steam Deck's not even gonna be plugged in at that time, so I don't know why it's scheduled for that. But it's like scheduled, and then if I wanna make it not scheduled, I have to like go down to it and click on it, and then it adds it to the queue of ones to download ahead of time. So then it's downloading each of these updates, and I don't have to like stop and click go for each one. But then on top of that, this is kind of the weird thing, when you restart your Steam Deck, you're gonna get like 52 updates or like 70 updates or whatever it's gonna be since the last time you restarted your Steam Deck. It's my understanding from what I've read on the internet, what I've been told, it caches these, is it shaders? I think it's shaders. It caches this thing where basically a lot of games will get like these updates to shaders and stuff that it needs to download, but they're really, really small. So you might have 60 or 70 downloads pending, but some of them are less than a megabyte, and some of them are not. And I've had it before where like Remnant, I think, put out a patch and it was like 1 gig, but then it had to go through and verify the file integrity on the other 80 gigs. So it was like, great, now I get to sit here and watch my Steam Deck just validity or validate 80 gigs worth of data. So I don't know. Downloads are kind of iffy on me sometimes. It's not the end of the world. Most of the time it's plugged in, like I said, so I'll literally just be like, all right, go to downloads, click, 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 and then that's it. And then whenever they're done, I'll just start playing, and then I'll do that the next day or whenever more downloads come in. But restart your Steam Deck periodically because you will get those shader updates, and you will get other updates that might not show up for you. And also sometimes I've had it where my Steam Deck just like freaks out and it's like crashes and it's like, I won't turn on for you. So you have to like hold the power button for like 30 seconds or 40 seconds, and then it'll restart, and then you have a bunch of downloads all pending. But yeah, just something to keep in mind. For the local multiplayer experience on the Steam Deck, I'd say it's incredible. Like, I'm gonna be honest with you. So like, there's been several times where I was like, I'm gonna go to a friend's house, and I'll go to my friend's house, and you know, I put the Steam Deck on the dock, we get it plugged into his TV, plugged into the wall, and then it's like, pair a PS5 controller, here you go. Pair a PS5 controller, here you go. Pair an Xbox One controller, here you go. Pair a PS5 controller, here we go. And then the four of us are all playing like Stick Fight the game, right? Or Gang Beasts, that's the other one. I was like, what's the one with the bears? Yeah, Gang Beasts. So like, we're just playing 4-person local multiplayer, and it's crazy because like, you're playing on this, right? This tiny little thing, but you're playing 4 of you. You're each using your own controller connected to the Steam Deck, and then that's putting it up on the external display on the TV. And it's a phenomenal experience. Like, we never have issues with it. It works great. So local multiplayer is awesome. I've been just incredibly happy. Like, I will say, like 9 months ago or a year ago, like when it first was out, it wasn't perfect, and there would sometimes be issues, but they were even saying at the time, like, they're like, it's not ready to use dock yet, just use it as a handheld, like, we're working on the dock updates, whatever. And so it was clearly like they're working on stuff, but now it's just flawless. You dock it, you play it with your friends. It's great. So local multiplayer is awesome. I have nothing but good things to say about that. I will say one complaint that I have is if you're using a keyboard as one of the local multiplayers, or if you're just using a keyboard on your couch in general, there's no way to open this Steam button or the options button from a keyboard that I've found. So if I'm wrong, put it in the comments, let me know. But from what I've seen, when I try to use a keyboard and mouse, like, I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna play like keyboard and mouse, like a real PC gamer, I'm gonna be great. And then I'm like, okay, I'm done with this game. I can't get out of it. I can't open the Steam menu. I can't get it to load, you know, the things I need to do on here. So that's one thing I've noticed. I wish there was like a shift tab or some kind of command I could do on a keyboard. On a controller, like on the PS5, you just hit the PS5, the PlayStation logo, and boom, like it opens the Steam menu, but it doesn't do that on a keyboard. So you got to find, I don't know, maybe they'll add a thing someday, but otherwise, local multiplayer is phenomenal. It works great. Just make sure you're using controllers. I especially recommend the PS5 controller or the PS4 controller if you don't want to buy a PS5 controller. I have noticed the Xbox controllers not work as well with the Steam Deck. I think it's on Xbox because the Xbox controller sucks. The hardware's bad, in my opinion. I've had so many Xbox controllers fail. It's another reason why I made the switch to PlayStation. My Xbox controllers fail constantly. They didn't even used to ship with Bluetooth. Even the PS4 controllers have always had Bluetooth. Just wild to me. Play with the PS4, play with the PS5 controller, especially if you play with the PS5 controller. Flawless experiences. Me and my friends do it consistently with a 4-person local multiplayer game on a TV, and we never have any issues. So definitely recommend a PS5 controller for this. For my review of the Steam Deck, I think it's fair to say that it definitely is one of my favorite gaming consoles I've ever owned for a variety of reasons. One, I love to go over to my friends' houses and play games with them, especially like local multiplayer games. So being able to bring it in a nice case and super portable, just bring it in a bag with a couple controllers and a dock, plug into their TV, dock it, and have 4 of us all playing local multiplayer games, all from a Steam Deck with no latency or issues, is phenomenal. It's a great experience. I absolutely love playing it docked. It's just an enjoyable time. It's fun. I also have all the Jackbox games loaded up on here, so every time I go somewhere, even if it's like my family, you know, my parents' house, like we'll load up a Jackbox game on the TV, and like boom, we're just playing Jackbox games because we all play on our phones, and then we just have this to host the games. So that's one of my favorite things, is just being able to play with it at other people's houses and play with other people. But number 2, and probably the bigger thing, to be honest, is just going to be the fact, the portability. I mean, I use it most probably in bed or like on the couch, because it's really nice to be able to be like, all right, my kids are over there, they're watching a show, I'm going to play, you know, Remnant 2 for a little bit, or I'm going to play Dark Souls. Like, I love that aspect of it, because generally I don't take a lot of time for myself to like sit down and, you know, I'm going to play PS5 for 1 or 2 hours, especially with kids, you know, and if I'm in the basement, like I don't want to be playing Dark Souls in front of a 3-year-old, right? But when you're playing on here and they're watching their show or playing their game and you're doing your thing, it's a very different experience. So that portability and the ability to use it anywhere is really one of my favorite things about it. Outside of that, I think the only other thing is just really the ease of use of it, because PC gaming is not always easy. You know, you got driver updates, you have to do all these different things, make sure your game is compatible, make sure your system's up to spec to be able to play a lot of certain games. Like, there's just so many things you have to do. And on the Steam Deck, 99% of the stuff just works. You see a game in the store that's Steam Deck verified, you download it, you click play, and it runs. And it saves all your save data in the cloud. It works. One of the coolest things to me, and the thing that still blows my mind, is the fact that on literally any game, and the developer doesn't even have to do anything, I can just click the power button and the game just goes to sleep. Like games like Deep Rock and like Remnant 1 and I think Remnant 2, but Remnant 1 especially, like if you're playing in like solo or like offline mode, you can literally just press pause, click the power button, and come back to your game 48 hours later, or just pick up right where you left off. That's just awesome. Like, that's so cool to me. It's incredible. And they say the Steam Deck, I think they said it uses like 1% of battery life per hour it's left on. So even after 48 hours, you'd still have 50% battery life while your game is just sitting there being stored and waiting for you to come back. That's awesome, especially if you plug it in, you know, between then. So it's at 100% the next time you go to play it. So there's a variety of reasons to love the Steam Deck, but to be honest, there's no real cons. You get all the games that PlayStation puts in the Steam, you know, store on PC, and then you get all the games that just come to PC naturally. So like, I'm going to be able to play Starfield. Like, I'm a PlayStation 5 gamer, but now I'll be able to play Starfield because it's coming to PC, so it's probably coming to Steam Deck. So just having that variety of games, even like the, you know, PS5 exclusives that come to PC now, I can play them on here. So just everything about it. Online multiplayer works, the graphics work. It's not like incredible, but most games, especially like pixel art games like Dead Cells and stuff, you're going to get 60 FPS anyways, you know, and then if you're playing like Elden Ring, maybe it's more like 30 or 40-ish, but still, it's a small screen. You can't tell the difference between low, medium, or high on a screen this small. It's 720p, but it's still small enough you can't see the pixels because of that. I mean, it's just great. It's super comfortable. It's very ergonomic. It's very durable. You know, you can customize the heck out of it. Valve sells first-party replacement parts when they partnered with iFixit, so you can get instructions on how to fix a part or how to replace a part and the literal part itself from the manufacturer. Like, they just killed this. It's amazing. They just blew every other console out of the park. I don't think, you know, I don't think the Nintendo Switch can really compete except for their first-party games, and even then, like, I'd rather play Starfield than, you know, Mario Tennis or whatever new games come out, or the new update to add more racers to Mario Kart. Like, I don't care about that. I'd much rather play like new big AAA games and stuff like that. So anyway, that's my review of the Steam Deck. I love it. I think it's great. I think it's pretty much on par with the PS5. They just offer different experiences. One's going to give you probably better fidelity and graphics resolution, but you're locked to your couch mostly, and the game streaming is not super amazing on the PS5 in my opinion. Meanwhile, the Steam Deck, you can play anywhere. It can play most games, not all games, like the PS5 can, but it can also play games the PS5 can't, like Starfield and other games like that. So yeah, hands down, it's just on par, or maybe even slightly better than the PS5 in my opinion. I just love it, and I think it crushes the Xbox. Just because you can play it anywhere, and then if you want, you can just dock it, and then it literally is it effectively is an Xbox at that point. It's just a console docked to a TV playing on a TV. So anyway, I love the Steam Deck. Hopefully you guys pick one up, or you already have one. If you do have one, or you're going to pick one up, definitely check out the accessories that I mentioned in the video and in the description below. I think those accessories, I seriously, like, I'm not sponsored at all. Those are just my personal recommendations for things that will improve your experience with the Steam Deck. Having used a lot of different accessories from a lot of different vendors on Amazon, just trying different things over the past year that I've had this. Those are definitely the ones that stuck out to me as like I would definitely recommend anybody getting one. So thank you so much for watching this video. If you guys did like the video, please go ahead and like and subscribe. I'm really trying to grow my channel and make some new content for you guys, and be able to invest in new technologies and new things to show you guys. So yeah, just go ahead, like and subscribe, comment below if you guys have questions, or anything you want to argue, or any statements you have about your Steam Deck. If you have a Steam Deck, what you think of it or what your favorite thing is, just let me know. And anyway, thank you so much, guys. I'll see you around.